So if we take a very close look at one of the divisions over at Disney, that of course being Lucasfilm, I think it's very fair to say that both Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm are pretty much in a very similar situation right now, where pretty much it's all in a downward spiral full of expensive failures on the horizon. We all see what's happening with Marvel Studios in their 2025 lineup, as well as what Disney Star Wars is preparing for the remainder of this year leading into next year, and let's not forget about 2026 with the upcoming Rey Skywalker Star Wars movie. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, alright, I know that name in and of itself is a little bit long-winded, but we know that she herself has been attacking fans, has been standing her ground against the fan backlash revolving around the character of Rey, and there's been a lot of drama happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, amid, of course, Daisy Ridley getting that pay increase to around $12 million to work on the Rey movie with her return as an actress. Meanwhile, her pay got decreased and she got fired from numerous roles as a co-writer as well as a director for many Star Wars projects, 2 of which were movies, 2 others of which were TV shows, dwindling her down only to strictly working on the Rey Star Wars movie. Now, what's interesting about this is that we know that there's been a large shakeup happening over at Lucasfilm between Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, Kathleen Kennedy, Daisy Ridley. It's an ongoing mess, and it's no different than what's been going on with the big wigs over at Disney, right? Now, what's interesting about all of this is that on top of everything here, with director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy actively caught up in the backlash revolving around the upcoming Rey Skywalker film, one major development involves her stance on the fan backlash, where she delivered the following. As a director, you deal with challenges, especially when you're attempting to create a story that is for women by women. There is a lot of noise that we typically see in a community like this that acts defensively when someone like myself tries to establish something new that shifts away from George Lucas's philosophy of Star Wars and what it really means. I think it's about time that many of these fans that hold these loud, biased opinions should really keep quiet and keep all of that negativity to themselves, so that we can focus on a great story to tell that is going to cater Star Wars to women this time around. It's something that has been lacking for decades, not just in Star Wars but for the entire film industry, that I firmly believe needs to be normalized so that we can make these films and series based on fair game for everyone. We have had our challenges getting this story made, and we are still chipping away at it, and I really can't talk much about Rey's next journey, but it is most certainly going to be a film that respects women. I was very much inspired by Leslie Headland, who is doing this for the first time with Star Wars television with The Acolyte. It was my inspiration to do something like that on the big screen, and if fans don't like something like that, or that type of approach, they can simply not watch it. But that's still a problem. I think men should accept what Lucasfilm is trying to establish and what they have been trying to do, and what Disney has been longing for. It is my responsibility to make this happen the right way for the demographic that we are looking at right now. I would say this has been the biggest challenge that not only I have been going through, but also for those over at Lucasfilm. Getting this film right and breaking away from George's vision is something that will take a ton of focus to create something accepted. But I think the real issue that we are dealing with here today are the self-centered fans and the self-entitled fans that believe that these creations belong to them, and that this is something that I have actually agreed on with many producers in my career, that it's always about the creator, not necessarily the fans. These Star Wars stories are for the writers, directors, and the performers in the story to make it happen the right way. I think it's wrong to cater to a fandom or a community that holds many demands with a story and how it should be told. But yes, we are proudly shifting away from Lucas's vision, I guess you could say, or his style of Star Wars, and really taking this with a new approach. Now guys, let me just say one thing before I move on, based on what Sharmeen is trying to say here about the Star Wars fandom. Basically what she is saying is that George does not matter, the fans that have been very loyal to this overall franchise do not matter, and they want to alienate them. They want to basically cater this movie or deliver this film to an audience that doesn't even exist. They want to basically reach a demographic of people that may have never seen a Star Wars film, or those that have never even heard of a Star Wars film. And I think that's a wrong way to go about doing things. You have to approach things with a established fan base. You know, that's basically what you really should do. Now look, we know that the fact that they are going to be calling her Rey Skywalker by name is one big mistake in and of itself. They say they want to detach from George Lucas's vision. Okay, alright, that's one thing. It's another thing to be very hypocritical and contradictory by calling Rey Skywalker yet again in this upcoming movie, which, by the way, they are debating on turning it into an entire trilogy, a Rey Skywalker trilogy. I'm not joking. Kathleen Kennedy has said that this is quite the possibility, and that they have talked about this. And it goes to show you how out of touch with reality they really are. That they are not listening to fans, they are not concerned about Star Wars fans' concerns, and to be honest, what fans are really left that have a lot of hopes about where Disney is at when it comes to their movies, right? So moving onwards, she goes on to elaborate further. I personally could not be more proud about all of this. Working with Steven, she's talking about Steven Knight, and guiding him on the right path to adapt Rey's story is something that I believe will resonate with so many new fans that have never seen Star Wars before. This is somewhat of a reset, I would like to say. I think Rey is a great message out there that you don't need to rely on old characters or familiar faces. There is no denying the fact that loud fans are never going to like Rey's direction in this film, and that's to be expected, but our main goal is to obtain new fans that will create a new future of where Star Wars needs to go in order to succeed. Again, guys, very contradictory by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. She says that they don't need familiar faces, that they don't need old characters. Well, sure, Rey may not be an old character, but she sure is a familiar face. She's a face that has been pretty much embedded in one of the most controversial trilogies in pop culture. There's no denying the fact about that. And I think it's also very, pathetic of Lucasfilm to chase a feature-length film for 2026 to be one of the first films since 2019 to feature a sequel trilogy character as one of the main leads. Now look, I know I've said this many times before, this movie is not just going to be about Rey, it's going to focus on the continuation of the Jedi Order in what I would like to say is going to be in a way that's going to not only divide the fandom further. If you thought The Last Jedi was bad, I think that this could very well be the next level above that. Because we know that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is way more extreme than Rian Johnson, way more extreme than even Kathleen Kennedy, which is something that I think nobody would have expected. So overall, guys, I think at the end of the day, there's a real 50-50 shot that this even gets made. I really don't see that this movie will even begin filming by this May as originally intended. That has already been delayed. So overall, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. And I will catch you guys later.